The Movies, Films, and Flicks podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/shark. Over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Oops.
I didn't know that was on there.
That song definitely captures Mission Impossible 2.
Right.
Perfect.
So, that was... If you're listening to this podcast, it's probably not the first one we've heard that theme song, but this is the first one we've done with that theme song, and we forgot to edit out a certain part of the theme song.
Oh, dude, keep that in.
Really?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, all right, we'll do it.
Okay. What you got to ask yourself is, would Tom Cruise and John Woo keep it in?
Oh, probably.
They keep in a lot of stuff, so yeah.
Well,
yeah, perfect.
Welcome to another episode of Movies, Films, and Flicks, everyone. I'm your host, John Losfoff. This is actually another special episode of Movies, Films, and Flicks. But first, let me introduce my co-hosts. As always, Mark Hoffmar.
Hello, Moneypenny.
Oh, there we go. And returning back to the podcast is my shark dropper colleague, Robert Lamb.
I'm only here because I heard we were going to bond today.
Also, apparently eating sushi. You should see how much sushi Robert is eating right now.
Yeah, I'm so hungry.
It's like you're eating half the Pacific right now.
That's all right. They didn't eat that many fish.
Right.
Let's go. We're covering Connery first because we have.
Wait, hold on. I just
Twice, Thunderball.
Yeah,
that's true.
We should mention what this why this podcast is so special. I mean, for the usual reasons.
Right.
But today we're actually covering a classic film franchise, the James Bond movies. Actually, it's probably the main reason why Robert's here.
Yep.
He has a weird fetish for James Bond. Actually.
I love him.
Yeah, he can't go a day without talking about James Bond.
You can't either.
No.
So, Robert, you have a fetish, right?
Yep.
But I'm more of like, I'm not a part-timer, but I'm not like a fetish guy. So I'm more of like I'm like a knowledgeable person who knows my boundaries. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know my boundaries.
Right. He has a fetish for James Bond and sushi. Apparently.
His safe word is Scaramanga.
Yep.
Scaramanga.
Or knick-knack.
All right, so
hey, boss.
For the purposes of this podcast, we're not going to go through every single movie because this podcast is only about 45 minutes to an hour long. So I think the best way to approach this is just to go actor by actor. What do you guys think?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, let's start off with the OG Bond, the guy who kicked everything off and just
Lazenby.
Yeah, Lazenby. No, let's start off with Mr. Suave himself, Sean Connery.
Well, thank you for having me. I just I wanted to pick the rapist for 600.
Yeah.
The tits now.
No, I mean, listen, when most people talk Bond, whenever the conversation comes up, who is the best Bond, probably 4 to 5 is Sean Connery. The guy had a great run. Some of the movies got kind of soggy, but he is quintessential. What I liked about him was he was violent. He could pull off the arm grab with aplomb, and I don't know. There was just something about him. He was effortless in his Bondiness.
Yeah, he's smooth, collected. He's just you never worried when he was Bond. Although he could play vulnerable, not even vulnerable. He got into trouble a lot of times where he would be captured and stuff like that. But you never worried about him being able to get out. He'd always get out, and he's there's like parts of it where I know we mentioned this before the podcast, the misogynistic kind of nature of James Bond. It all originated with Sean Connery, smacking the girl's ass when he asked to go get a drink and that kind of stuff.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
Right.
He did an interview too. I forget who he was with. But in real life, Sean Connery is like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with smacking your wife if she gets out of line. So
he was from a different time. Just
But wait, I have a question though. In all the Bond films, I think you're right though. Whenever he's surrounded in trouble, I don't think I ever what was it in Goldfinger when he had that laser pointing at his balls? Never once are you worried that he's going to get hurt. I don't think he was worried that he was going to get hurt. Is that a good thing or a bad thing for a Bond?
I think it's an okay thing for a Bond in the sense that he was the original Bond. So people didn't really know, how long this Bond series was going to last. So the fact that, obviously he's the main character, he's going to live, but he could have still played it a little bit more vulnerable as other Bonds have, especially like Craig. I think Craig is like the first one that's really like taken it to another step where you feel for Bond more than you did, especially if you want to even... I know we haven't talked about the Moore era yet because we just started, but the Moore era, like you never felt like Roger Moore was really in danger to it. And it was almost like a comedic kind of, how's he going to get out of this situation? Whereas Sean Connery was more serious, but you didn't feel like he was ever in any real threat.
I think the only time that I was worried for Sean Connery was in Dr. No with the spider scene. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. Crawling. Yeah.
Like he freaked out. Like this guy, like there's a scene in the movie where what is his name? Professor Dent shoots 6 bullets at it and he stays so calm. He's able to count how many bullets are being shot at him.
Yep.
But when a spider gets near him, he freaks out. I wonder if they just like put that in there with him when he was sleeping, like literally, and that just freaked him out and kept the scene.
But that was just a tarantula, right? Like it wasn't, It couldn't. Technically, I think they thought that spiders back then, like they thought tarantulas back then were like poisonous and stuff, but they're not.
But the problem is, like most Bonds, like I feel like they know everything. Yeah. Like in Her Majesty's Secret Service, like any Bond film, they know how to drive every vehicle. So I feel like it's a little bit of a plot hole there that Connery freaked out. I wonder if his toupee was going to fly off.
Yeah. Well, also in Dr. No, when that spider is on him, I love the music cues. Like as he's hitting it, like the music goes with him smashing the boot on the spider. It was like a dun, 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 like as he's smashing it. And I just thought that was pretty funny.
So is that where Sylvester Stallone got his inspiration for Rocky? Oh no, wait, who wrote that song?
That was the main inspiration for Rocky. Actually,
it wasn't dun 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 dun.
He just
getting strong now.
He just played Dr. No on a loop.
Gonna fly now. So guys, I have to ask.
Wait, was it be the eyes of the spider instead of the eye of the tiger?
Oh. How many eyes does a spider have? 8? Or is that just legs?
That's their legs. You know 16? The difference between legs and eyes, right?
Is it?
Nope.
Is it like 32, 16, 64? I don't know.
Well, if Levengood was here, he would know the answer.
Yeah, he would.
He's literally a doctor in that. Or
he's a spider doctor.
Well, yeah, that's one way of putting it.
He heals spiders.
So, guys, I have to ask, as was previously mentioned, Sean Connery is almost universally praised as the best Bond. Do you guys agree with that sentiment? Is Sean Connery the first Bond, also the best Bond?
It's always hard being a follow-up to something, whether it's a sequel or, taking a character from somebody else who's established that character already. Because Sean Connery was the first, everybody compares every Bond to Sean Connery. They don't compare Moore to Craig too often. It's usually like, does Craig beat Connery? And that's just what it is.
So are you attributing to the fact that he was just the trailblazer?
I think that's part of it. I do think he was a good Bond, and I think he was suave, and he played the character well. And I've read a few of the books by Ian Fleming, and I think he fit the part well. Little known fact, like they were actually trying to get Cary Grant to play James Bond in the first one.
An American.
Yeah, they wanted Cary Grant just because they felt like he looked the part. He was suave and debonair. Like that's just Cary Grant was like at the top of the world, like in the 50s.
But he
60s.
wasn't isn't a James Bond character Scottish?
He's British. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Well,
yeah. Well,
yeah. Okay. Anyway,
but then we have to get to Skyfall to talk about that. So
But that's what I'm saying is like, okay, so they wanted Cary Grant, but Cary Grant said he would do Dr. No, but he didn't want to do any sequels, or he didn't want to be contracted to any sequels. And they said, no, we want somebody who's going to be, because they wanted this to be a long-running franchise. They knew that from the start.
Yeah, at the time, Connery wasn't a well-known actor. He was
Now this made him.
This is he was an up and comer. I think before that he was just like a bouncer at certain clubs, which explains his physique.
Yeah.
And didn't he get the role where I think one of the producers was worried that he wasn't good looking enough, but then he took his wife. One of the producers took his wife to go see Connery in a film, and his wife was like, "Holy crap, he's attractive."
Yeah.
So like that's kind of how they sold it. He kind of emulate, like if they captured his sweat and made it into like a cologne, it would just be called Man. Like he kind of captured like that, like I don't know. He was the suave, manly spy.
Yeah.
Who stopped caring towards the end of the series.
That's okay. That's my only problem with him is that I love Connery. Like I love him as Bond, and through the first 4 films, I think he's great. I've heard that his favorite film to do was From Russia with Love. Like that's his favorite one of the Bond films. But when you watch the first 4, I think they're all great. But then it gets to the point where You Only Live Twice comes out, and then after that, he came back later on for Diamonds Are Forever. And both of those, I feel like he was just phoning it in, and you can tell he's so bored with the character. And like that was the only thing that like I love Connery through the first 4, but then after that, he just lost it for me.
Yeah, and he wasn't even phoning it in. I feel like he was calling somebody, and they were calling somebody to phone it in. Like,
especially Diamonds Are Forever.
He did not want to be there at all. Like, and it got kind of embarrassing with You Only Live Twice when he kind of became Japanese.
Oh god,
and
that was
like,
racist.
He just didn't care. But like, I'll tell you what. No, we'll get to it later. But I was born in '82, so I'm kind of a product of the '90s. So my favorite like. Emotional wise Bond film is Goldeneye, but I think the best Bond film is From Russia with Love, and that's why I would have to put Connery as my favorite, because From Russia with Love, I don't know, I love the bad guy, I love Red Grant, I love the fight scene on the train, I love what Rosa Klebb, I love the backup, his sidekick was Ali Karim Bey. I just loved, that's my favorite Bond film. So I guess that was my favorite performance. It was different. So I guess that's why I put Connery as number 1.
I actually read the From Russia with Love book, and it's shocking how much time in the book that Anne Fleming gave to the character Red Grant. Like they really built him up to be like this badass guy. Like they talked about how in the book, like it talked about how he was like this guy who had no name, and that, you know, was just recruited to be like this villain, and he would kill animals and kill people without like people finding out and stuff. And he was just like, he had no emotions. And I think Robert Shaw really brought that to life in the film.
He nailed it. I love that fight scene on the train. I love that movies nowadays would not spend that much time in a single location. And I know they moved around on the train, but I don't think any movies would do that nowadays. I mean, they probably wouldn't make gypsies seem as stereotypical.
That's right.
But other than, well, actually though, that Sherlock Holmes 2 did that kind of. But
yeah,
like I don't know. I love the sidekick. I love the scene where the guy, the Ali rests the gun on Bond's shoulder and he shoots the woman or the guy coming out of the woman's mouth. And of course, Sean Connery being Sean Connery is like, she should have kept her mouth shut.
Yeah. Always having those little quips.
Yeah, all right, so that's a maybe for you, Robert, as far as Connery being the best?
No, I think he is the best.
Okay.
I think, but part of it is the fact that he was first.
Yeah.
I think that you have to attribute that to him in the sense that that's what drives a lot of people to compare other Bonds to him, because he was the first. But I also think he was the best because he established the character well, and because I've read some of the books and like the early books, they do. I mean, it comes across as that who James Bond is. And
Mark, you also agree that Connery's the best?
I guess the way I look at it is, so we have Indiana Jones, right? Now, let's say years from now, there's 5 under Indiana Jones, and they're all good in their own right, but people would still be like Harrison Ford.
Right.
So, I don't know. I think he is, because, I don't know, Brosnan, yeah, you know what? I'll go with Connery. I'll just leave it there.
I agree with Connery being the best. I think, Robert and Mark have explained it pretty well. I just want to add that Connery, the way he portrayed Bond, you knew that he was the good guy, but you didn't feel like he was like a squeaky clean.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't a guy to be messed with. Like he had like this aura of like danger. I mean, that sounds kind of cheesy to say, but it's true. It's true. Like, you know, he was sophisticated. He was always like well dressed, but he knew how to shoot a gun. He knew how to throw a punch. He knew how to seduce a woman. Like he was a guy who could get what he wants. And like I feel like out of all the actors to portray Bond, Connery kind of depicted that kind of aura of James Bond the best.
I do.
No, this is going to sound random. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
So I think every Bond has traits that are great, but I think if you judged all 5 of them, like let's say we took all what is it, 6 Bonds, and we put a list of best person who could throw the best punch, best action star, most suave. Connery's not always going to be number 1, but he's always going to be 1 or 2. So if you average out the scores, he would probably be the consensus number 1 because he kind of embodied, like you said, he was kind of cold. Was it in Thunderball when he's dancing with was it Fiona?
Yeah.
Oh,
he uses his dance partner as a meat
he
shield.
uses her as a bulletproof vest. In Dr. No, he kills that Professor Dent in cold blood because he shot his 6 bullets. The guy, he was kind of stone cold. He would kill people that were unarmed. And what Brosnan did that in The World Is Not Enough, but after that Brosnan killed that woman, but then he had like that sad look on his face, which kind of wrecked the situation. So I think that if you took a consensus poll, Connery would come out on top.
Right. And I do want to say, like, I talked about him not really being vulnerable in the sense that you never thought he was going to get hurt. But I think between Dr. No and From Russia with Love, which they don't show on camera, they said that he went on a mission and he actually got shot. And they actually show, like, his scar in From Russia with Love in the very beginning when he's in a car with a girl. He's got his shirt off and she, like, mentions, like, a scar on him. And I think that was kind of like a little way. I think he actually did have an injury and they were just kind of pointing it out. Like, that was a real injury that they just put into the film.
Oh, I thought that was, like, something from, like, a book that, like, they just referenced.
It might have. I don't remember it. At least not in From Russia with Love, the book. But the fact that he had that scar, like, I think that was also kind of showing that, he wasn't invincible. And the fact that they gave him his new Walter PPK in Dr. No was showing him, like, okay, you had this accident where your gun, didn't fire when it was supposed to fire. We got this new weapon for you. Try this out. And, like, that was kind of their way of showing he was still kind of human.
All right, guys. Well, Connery, as amazing as he was, he can't play James Bond forever. Eventually, someone had to take the unenviable job of replacing him as James Bond.
Yep.
And that man's name was George Lazenby.
That famous guy.
And like I was watching that Everything or Nothing documentary, and he got the role for James Bond. He ran into the casting agency. He snuck past people. He jumped in. He did an audition. He convinced the casting agents that he had done movies before. And they got him to like the final interview, and he finally laid out the truth to one of the Broccoli's or one of the producers. And George Lazenby was like, "Listen, I've never acted before." And the guy's like, "Acted?" He was like, "You just fooled 2 of the top casting agents in the world that you'd acted." So he got the role from there. So like it was just kind of.
So if you're listening at home, folks, if you want to get in that next blockbuster movie, just lie to everybody.
Yeah. No, he was Australian, right? Like he was.
Yeah, he was an Australian model,
right? He wasn't. Yeah, he never acted before.
It should be mentioned that Lazenby only appeared in one movie, On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Yeah, one Bond film. Yeah.
So, guys, what did you think of Lazenby in On Her Majesty's Secret Service?
So, pound for pound, I think it has the most character of any Bond film, which isn't a bad thing. Like, I don't know. When I first watched it, I didn't really appreciate it that much, but then I thought about it, and then I watched it again, and I love this film. I think the ending's beautiful. I think he throws the best punch. I think it has the best plot. I think Diana Rigg is one of the best Bond girls. I think it has some heart. I think it has chicken allergies. I think it has a great downhill skiing scene.
Oh, man. That scene is awesome.
And it has quite possibly the longest escape scene from a Swiss Alp layer in the history of the world. So you got to appreciate it for that.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I saw this movie when I was pretty young, when I was first getting into Bond. I remember my dad used to watch Bond like all the time, and eventually I got into it and I started watching him. And I remember I came across this one. I was like, "That's not Bond. Who's that?" And he's like, "No, this guy played Bond, but he only played him one time." So we watched it, and it was just kind of like it's slow. It was slower moving than any of like the Moore films, which I was brought up on like Roger Moore, so I was waiting for like goofy antics and just craziness, and there's nothing of that. There's no real like gadgets. It was just kind of, it was different, and I didn't really appreciate it then. But when I went back and watched it, like I realized like that it's a really good Bond movie, and people didn't realize that when it came out either, because people didn't really like him. They missed Sean Connery and all that. And as a movie, it was very dour. It was very sad, especially the ending. And but I do want to say the ski chase scene is one of my favorite scenes in a Bond film. And Christopher Nolan said that was inspiration for him with Inception.
Oh, when they're at the Snow Fortress?
The Snow Fortress. That was, he said that it was on Her Majesty's Secret Service, like that whole ski chase.
I don't remember Leo DiCaprio
skiing on one foot.
Like, this didn't happen to the other guy.
They had cameramen going backwards holding cameras to get those shots. Like, that was state of the art how they did that.
And Mark, you're a PA. If someone asked you to ski backwards holding camera, would you do it?
Oh, hell yeah. Are you kidding me? I've done some crazy things, man. I've been out in the Everglades chainsawing and that's another story.
The music for that scene too, which is actually the theme of On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which was back to instrumental. Like they got rid of the actual singing, like bringing in artists. It was just instrumental, and like that instrumental theme is amazing, and it works so well in the action sequences.
Guys, so how do you think Lazenby, his performance as James Bond compared to Sean Connery's? What was the big difference?
All right, well, someone said something. They were talking about Dalton as Bond, and they said that it took Connery a while to fill in those shoes as Bond. It took him a couple films. So Lazenby didn't have that chance. I think he was... Next to Daniel Craig, I think he was the most athletic of the bunch. I think they cast him because he could throw an awesome screen punch. Kind of looked like a Harrison Ford type thing. But I don't know. His acting was wooden, but I don't know if that was the director's fault. I don't know. It's really hard to put him in one movie and compare him to them. I like him more than Dalton. I like him more than most of Moore, 2 of Connery, and 2 of Brosnan. Yeah. Right in the middle, I'd put him.
Yeah, I mean, he's on the lower spectrum for me, but that's because he didn't, obviously play in more films. His acting wasn't the greatest, but he wasn't an actor. That's obvious. But I've heard a lot of people say, like, if Sean Connery was in On Her Majesty's Secret Service and not Lazenby, it would have been like the best Bond. It would be at the top. And I can kind of see that. But I do want to point out that I remember reading an article about like why On Her Majesty's Secret Service is actually considered one of the best Bonds now, like after all these years. And they're pointing at like just these different things, like how this was like really one of the first ones where James Bond was kind of human. A lot of people tie it to Casino Royale, like where they kind of gave him some human elements and where they actually had him fall in love, which kind of was Casino Royale with Vesper Lynd. And in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, there's even a thing where he's getting chased, right? He's getting the ski chase happens, then he escapes into like this little town, and he's like running through the town, and he's actually hiding from the bad guys, and the bad guys are looking for him, and like you can just see like he sits down on a bench and he drags up his coat and he kind of just sits there and like hopes they don't find him, and that wasn't very James Bondish to me. Like, I just expected him to, like, hide around a corner and just ready to punch them when they turned. But that never happened. He was actually scared for his life. You can kind of see the fear that he's hiding, hoping they don't find him.
He had that vulnerability that Connery never had.
Right. And that came out, especially when the ending, which, are we spoiling it? I mean, like, he got married and his wife dies. And, like...
Irma Bunt.
Yeah.
All right, well,
but Diana Rigg, though, we got to throw out props to Diana Rigg. She's one of the best Bond women. She does her own thing. She's actually really good at driving. She's good at skiing. She woos Bond. She's just a badass in that role.
It's cool because he fell in love with her. Like it wasn't just a Bond girl where like he was just gonna like sleep with her and that was it. Like he actually fell in love with her, and she was actually like she was cute and she was quirky, and like they kind of. They didn't have like the best chemistry, but like you could see like Diana Rigg was throwing like her whole. I mean, she was acting. I mean, you could feel like for her character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it should be mentioned that Lazenby only had one movie, but not because he didn't get like an unfair shot. It's because he kind of messed it up for himself.
Yeah, he did.
Grew that beard, and he didn't want to shave his beard.
Yeah, it's just he just. I don't know. You could say he kind of walked away himself.
He was just a jerk on set. And
yeah.
I mean, he made fun of Diana Rigg. Like, there was a thing where he made fun of her breath during kissing scenes. He said she would eat garlic on purpose. And she's like, I never did that. And, like, he just made up stuff. He wouldn't shave his beard on the red carpet. He wouldn't. I don't know. He talked to his friend, and his friend was like, just do one and get out of there. Don't even do any more. And
yeah, because this Bond thing's not going anywhere.
He ruined it for himself.
So Lazenby had one movie. Connery actually came back
after that.
Oh gosh,
Diamonds Are Forever.
No,
that was in 1971, right?
Yeah, at that point though, Connery was way past like
his prime.
Well, at least his Bond peak.
Didn't they pay him $1 million to come back?
I don't. It was like 1.25, and he made the Guinness World Records book, Guinness World Records with that.
Yeah, that was the highest to ever pay an actor.
Yeah.
So we don't have to talk about this movie a lot, but I do want to talk about what Mr. Kidd and Mr. Wint.
Oh yeah.
The two like I don't know. This has become like big news recently when they talk about henchmen, but they were like the two first openly gay couple, and they were like this hitman couple, and they were just this weird yin and yang murderers. And then we got to talk about what Bambi and Thumper, the two women that Connery has to lazily battle, and they do the most unnecessary dance moves and splits, and then he holds both their heads underwater, and probably the worst fight, one of the worst fight scenes in Bond history. So you have two of the best henchmen, and then two of the worst.
Yeah, Diamonds Are Forever. It's interesting. It's not a great movie, but it's something you should definitely watch if you're a Bond fan. So you get the whole experience.
Here's the thing, though, is a lot of people attribute the kind of craziness of gadgets and quirky attitude of James Bond. They attribute that to Roger Moore. But actually, it all started with Diamonds Are Forever, I think. Like, that's where it got, like, really crazy, quirky, kind of dumb dialogue sometimes. The characters, like, there's a part where he's fighting Kid and Went, and he's fighting him on the boat, and he like ties his hands between his legs and then pulls them, and he makes like this ooh, and then like flips him over, and then he explodes in midair like that. That was the stuff that came later into the Roger Moore era, but like you can't fault Roger Moore for that because that was the producers deciding this is where we want to take Bond, and they started with Sean Connery, I feel.
Hey, speaking of Roger Moore.
Yep.
Wait, one quick thing, John. Your favorite car stunt is in Diamonds Are Forever.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Sideways car.
All right, quick aside. There's a set piece, or like there's a scene where like Bond has to get a car in sideways to fit through an alley. So you see him coming out on the left side.
Yeah.
But as you see the car coming out of the alley, the car is on its right side. So it's just someone kind of
messed up.
Yeah, it was just
they cut the camera angle. I guess they just like shimmied it the other way, like during the take, to make it look like for some reason the car just flipped inside the alley.
Just how many ways can a car go in an alley on the side? Like apparently more than one.
What's cool
though, it sucks because it's a great car gag. Like
it is.
It's
when
real.
I work
on sets with like car stunts, that would take days to film. And so you have all these people on set just for this one car stunt, and you think like the script supervisor would have been there and been like, yeah, this isn't right. But I guess it was just the freewheeling 71 Diamonds Are Forever phase.
Just another reason to watch Diamonds Are Forever, I guess.
But that's what James Bond's known for too, is like they always try to do these over the top stunts, and they always try to do them usually like they actually try to do them, whether it's a certain bungee jump or a jump off of a cliff or parachuting. Like it's always like a real stunt, and that's what James Bond's known for.
Right. All right. Well, moving on to Roger Moore. It's kind of weird. Like if you take out Diamonds Forever, which I don't blame you,
Yeah.
You go from Lazenby to Moore. It's such a huge juxtaposition. Lazenby only had that one movie, but Moore probably had. You go from like the shortest tenure to the longest tenure.
Yeah.
Roger Moore had about 7 movies. 8 movies.
Or wait.
Yeah, seven movies.
Live and Let Die, The Man with the Golden Gun, Spy Who Loved Me, Moonraker.
As Robert,
so 7, yeah, because Sean Connery was in 6.
yeah, because so Roger Moore, for a lot of people, including Robert, is the James Bond that they kind of grew to love for good reason. They had plenty of time to get to know Roger Moore.
Yep.
So all right, so Roger Moore, he has about 7 movies. There's plenty to talk about. What's the I don't know. What's the? How do you interpret his depiction of James Bond?
All right. Well, I'll go into why I like Moore, in the sense that I grew up.
Oh,
with
hey,
yeah. All right. I like Moore because I grew up with Moore, and that was the one that, for some reason, his movies were always on TV, and as a kid, they were more fun to watch because there was all these crazy stunts, there's these crazy characters, and Moore was kind of more jokey. I understand now that his movies aren't the best. There are, but I think he's got like hit or miss. Like I liked The Spy Who Loved Me a lot. I liked For Your Eyes Only a lot. I even thought Live and Let Die was pretty good.
My favorite Bond song, actually.
Yeah. Like I loved all those. But I get it. A View to a Kill is not that great. Moonraker's pretty bad. Octopussy's I mean, I get that. But my first movie I ever watched that was James Bond was A View to a Kill. That was the first one I ever saw, which I wish it wasn't, but it was. And that's why there's kind of like the soft spot in my heart for just Roger Moore. I also want to say, though, the reason why I like Roger Moore is because you can see in every role, he's always having fun. He's always having fun with Bond. Like, you can tell that he likes being Bond, whereas Sean Connery, you could tell he was bored being Bond.
And Roger Moore, he said some funny things. He's like, I was getting paid money to be a grown-up schoolboy. Like, he was just getting paid money to do all this stuff. And even, like, View to a Kill, he had a sense of humor about it. He was like, I was only 400 years too old for the part.
Yeah. He knows.
and, like, what I like about him, though, is, all right, so the Bond films get ridiculous, and I never felt that he was that comfortable with violence because he was a, oh, man, why can't I think of the word? He was a pacifist. And I never felt that comfortable with him. Like, Connery, he had that smolder with women, but I always felt uncomfortable when Roger Moore grabbed a woman's arm or did any of that. Like, I hate using this word, but it felt kind of rapey towards the end with him. But what I learned when we started researching Roger Moore, he was like the consummate professional on set. He hit his marks. He was there on time. He showed up prepared, and he was just the most professional person to work with. And so even though I think Connery is the better Bond, I have more of a fondness for Roger Moore.
You would have preferred to work with Moore over Connery.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. He was there on time. He wanted to be there. I mean, when people aren't there, it makes your life miserable. And I could just picture him showing up on set happy, handing out chocolates. I don't know why. But
those Andes mints.
He got it. And that's what I like about him. He got the cheekiness. He went with it. He was just there for the ride. And I think that's why his stuff, that's why you said it was on cable. I think a lot of people are very fond of Roger Moore because it's family friendly. They grew up with his stuff. It had more of a current attention span.
They're fun. I mean, they're fun movies. They're not overly dramatic. The action sequences are just fun, and some of them are even goofy. But like, I read his book Bond on Bond, and it talks about him, playing James Bond, and he's just like a humble guy where he says like he thinks Daniel Craig's the best Bond now, and he knows that he's like, I wasn't the best Bond. He's like, I know my movies got ridiculous. He's like, it wasn't always my choice. Like, that's just what they asked me to do. He's like, I knew by the time Octopussy was gonna come out, they wanted me to, or I think it was For Your Eyes Only. He's like, by that point, I was like, you know what? I think I want to be done with this. And they couldn't find anybody. They couldn't find anybody to replace him. So they're like, no, please do one more. So he's like, all right, fine. Like, they're paying me, I'll do it. And he liked doing it, and that's what he said. Like, that's the only reason why is he just wanted to keep doing it because he liked being Bond.
Yeah, it was such. If you compare it to Connery, it was such a huge departure, and I think to producers, it was intentional by the producers because Connery did such a good job as Bond. I felt like that the only option they had to to give someone else a chance was to take a completely different approach. You know, why would you want to replicate another Connery? Why don't we just take the character in a whole different approach? It started with Lazenby. Lazenby didn't work out because, you know, he was being, you know, an anti-Roger Moore.
I felt like they brought Lazenby in to be like kind of the darker Bond, and they found that at that time it didn't work out. Like that's not what people wanted then. It probably would work out really good now because people like that dark grittiness now.
Yeah. And Roger Moore, he just, I think he got it. Like I think he knew what the producers wanted. They wanted, you know, James Bond that was all about having fun.
Yeah,
I guess.
And I think I'm going to argue something, or not argue, but I'm going to give you guys a theory. I think the Roger Moore films, his character, Roger Moore's Bond, in his films has more memorable moments than all the other Bond.
For me, like the memorable moment that stands out is the escape where like he jumps on that crocodile's head.
Yeah, Live and Let Die. That, you know, they really did that. They tied down alligators and the guy ran over them. And then what? Kananga?
Yeah.
Kananga? Like he blew up in that scene. Then you have Sheriff Pepper running around like an idiot.
In both of them, he was in Man with the Golden Gun too.
And like the Man with the Golden Gun, you have the car spin where he jumped the car over that water and they added that weird whoop to it.
The whistle.
You know, Spy Who Loved Me. You had Jaws. You had the submarine car, and then you had the patriotic the Union Jack parachute. Barbara Bach was in that. Moonraker went to space because of Star Wars. So in '79 they wanted to copy that.
Yep.
And like For Your Eyes Only, I don't know if people remember that, but I love the mountain scene at the end. I don't remember anything about Octopussy. I just remember a circus. But then like A View to a Kill had Walken and like the evil butterflies and I don't know. Roger Moore was so old that he had to get his hair thickened between for every scene during that movie. And so I don't know. I feel like his films have the most personality.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they're the best films. I do think On Her Majesty's Secret Service has the most, but Moore's films combined, they have the most personality to them and the most memorable moments. Like, what was it in the submarine in Spy Who Loved Me? He dropped the fish out of his car.
That was awesome, though. Yeah, and that was his idea. I think he wanted to do it. And they're like, no, and I think he did it anyways. And like they're like, all right.
Like I missed out on a lot of this because I didn't start watching the Bonds till the 90s. Like I watched Goldeneye, then I became infatuated. But I would have loved to have seen these things when I was 10, 11 years old.
See, I watched them.
I would have loved Roger Moore.
And like when I grew up, these things they always like there was always some channel like just showing like a Bond marathon.
Spike.
Usually during Thanksgiving or like a holiday.
Yep.
Hey guys, John here from Movies, Films, and Flicks, here to tell you about a special offer from Audible. Audible is now offering our listeners a free audiobook of your choice and a free 30-day trial membership. Just go to audibletrial.com/shark and choose from over 180,000 audio programs. Download a title free and start listening. It's that easy. Now, one of these books that you can download is Bond on Bond, written and narrated by Roger Moore himself. To help commemorate the series' 50th anniversary, Mr. Moore has written a book that features all the Bond movies, along with a wonderfully witty account of his own involvement in them. From the girls to the villains, from the cars to the cocktails, from the gadgets to the locations. This is the ultimate James Bond book, written by the ultimate James Bond. Now, once again, to get this book for free, also to get a free 30-day trial, go to audibletrial.com/shark. That's audibletrial.com/shark. Yeah. So, Roger Moore, he's a big thumbs up, I'm assuming, from what it sounds like.
Okay, yeah, and I know I'm biased because I did, I liked him when he was, when I was younger and I watched his movies first, but I think that if you took Roger Moore and you put him into any other James Bond, I think he could have pulled it off too. I think he could have been in any other James Bond movie. It's just because the producers wanted him to be this James Bond, they forced him to be this jokey one. And it worked because that's kind of how his mentality and that's just his personality. But I think he could have done dark and gritty because he actually did do dark and gritty in For Your Eyes Only. That wasn't as jokey as the other ones. And there's actually a scene where there's this guy who killed somebody he knows that is on the edge of this cliff in a car, and instead of Moore helping him or anything like that, he kicks the car off the side of the cliff. And Moore at first didn't want to do that. He's like, my Bond wouldn't do that. And the producer's like, yes, but we want to ground the character again because they did Moonraker before that. So they're like, we don't want to be, we want to kind of, get back to Bond's roots. Like, we want you to do this. And he was really against it, but he ended up doing it. And he realizes like that helped. I mean, that helped the movie and stuff. So
what was the guy's name? Lock
something. Yeah. He like threw the pendant or something at him and then like kicked the car over.
Yeah.
I will say in Moonraker, it's ridiculous, but it did have Holly Goodhead.
Holly Goodhead, yeah.
And then it had the skydive scene where he didn't have a parachute and he had to get a parachute from another guy falling. That's a practical effect stunt that I love.
Yep.
I will say though that Roger Moore, he used a double for every running scene in his films because he felt like he ran silly.
Well,
that's a good reason.
When you're 50 something in a video kill, then yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But
Robert, his fight scenes in that movie made me so sad.
I know.
Like he had to like woo Mayday, who was Grace Jones.
Grace Jones. She's like 20 years younger than him.
Well,
And that movie made no sense. Christopher Walken wanted to destroy Silicon Valley?
Yeah.
And then, but the thing is, like, they don't really make the chips; they buy the chips. So he destroys it. So basically, they're not making the chips; they buy them. Yeah. I don't know. Roger Ebert had a good beef against it. So, I don't know. But View to a Kill did kind of lead us into the Dalton age because it was pretty serious with Walken mowing down all those people and everything.
Oh yeah, he was a dark villain.
Yeah, I was about to say. Robert brings up a good point. The producers want to get back to Bond's roots, so that's probably a very good reason why they casted the next actor we have on the list, Timothy Dalton.
Yeah.
Who only appeared in 2 movies, which definitely not 7 movies like Roger Moore.
Yeah, Living Daylights and License to Kill.
Right. It's very clearly the 80s Bonds movies. So you watch these movies, 80s. Like everything about these movies is so 80s, from like the hair to the clothes to the cars. I love it.
I got nothing against Dalton, man, but I can't stand his Bond films. There was just something so squirrely about his Bond. He just never... He tried to be very dour, but then he'd have these cheeky little moments where he just became... I don't know, he seemed kind of weak.
Yeah.
I couldn't get into those films, man. I don't know. And they, like... License to Kill got crazy with the shark death and Benicio del Toro, and...
They killed Felix Leiter.
Yeah, they killed him. Like, he was his best sidekick. And then I guess he did come back for Casino Royale.
But that was because it's pretty much a prequel.
Yeah, you're right. But no, I don't know. I don't have much to say. Robert, what do you think about Dalton?
I'm not a big fan of Dalton. I feel like, again, maybe like Lazenby, if he had more movies, he could have found his own kind of persona for the role. He was actually supposed to get more movies, but they got into this big lawsuit with what was his name? The guy who helped co-write Thunderball.
Thunderball.
Yeah.
Kevin McClory.
Yeah, they got into that big lawsuit, and then that whole thing happened. So they kind of went on a hiatus with James Bond. So Dalton said he was always ready to do another one, but they had so much going on they couldn't do it then. And then by that time, when they were ready to film again, they decided to go with Brosnan. But Dalton, like, it's okay. I remember when I was younger, I liked License to Kill, but then I watched it recently and it's not that great. And I thought Living Daylights was okay. I think that's the better of the two. But yeah, I wasn't a big fan of License to Kill. It was too Miami Vicey, and it was like, I don't know.
Yeah, needed more Don Johnson.
Yeah. but killing Felix Leiter, it's kind of like, I don't know. They were just trying to do that to differentiate him. Like, they were trying to make it a darker, grittier, and that's the problem. Is like the 80s wasn't really dark and grittier. It was like high kill counts.
It was the 80s.
It was like Schwarzenegger and Stallone and stuff like that.
And lots of cocaine.
Yeah.
I just want to say that, when you compare Dalton to the rest of the Bonds, to me it seems like he's the least comfortable in the Bond role. When you look at the other Bonds, like, there's a certain ease about them as far as like being Bond, but as far as Dalton, I never got that same type of ease. Like, he was always like, it felt like he was acting as Bond. He was never Bond himself.
He never had like jokes either. Like, he never had like the quips that Roger Moore had, but he never had like, he wasn't like suave or debonair like Sean Connery. It was kind of weird.
Like he was wearing James Bond's clothes, but he wasn't James Bond.
Yeah.
you know?
In that other guy's movie where Mark Wahlberg is like, I'm a peacock, you got to let me fly. Like they never let Dalton fly. Like I feel like he had more personality in Hot Fuzz than he did in all of these Bond films. And I don't think that's his fault. I just don't think they knew what to do with him, and it was a product of the scripts. Like I don't know. I'm not.
Actually, his character in Hot Fuzz would have been a better fit in the Bond movies than his the way he portrayed.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He's got personality. He's a decent actor.
He just
He's
wasn't
a good
allowed to
stage
show
actor.
it in the Bond movies.
Yeah.
No.
He tried to play it too hardcore, and again, I think that was like a product of the times where if, like On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which was I think to me was a little bit more darker in tone, if they brought those like to now, like if those movies were made now, they would have done a little bit better than they did then. I think Dalton's movies were the least profiting of all of them at that point.
Oh yeah, they were not fans.
Now, Robert, you actually already mentioned it, but there's actually like a little bit of a gap between Dalton's movies and the next guy, who we have on the list here, who is admittedly the Bond that I got to know pretty well. So the next Bond we have is Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
6 years.
Yeah, 6 years. It's a huge gap.
Yep.
At this point, I've already seen Bond movies, but they were like, I was still a young kid. Like these movies were they just felt kind of older to me. The Moore, the Connerys, and it was just like, Pierce Brosnan was the first new Bond to me that like I actually got excited for. It was like a new Bond.
Yeah.
Like I was a kid, I was like, oh wow, and this Pierce Brosnan guy, like he definitely looked the part, he sounded the part. I don't know, he was. I guess I'm a little biased towards Pierce Brosnan. I don't think he's the best, but I feel like, he's a personal favorite of mine. What about you guys? What do you think?
Dude, Goldeneye is awesome. The beginning scene where the guy bungee jumps and actually does that stunt.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you meet Sean Bean's 006.
Oh, poor Sean.
And then you have the tank chase. You have I don't know. I guess we don't have enough time to talk this entire movie through, but this is my favorite sentimental Bond film because this is what got me into the world. I love 006. I didn't really know what 006 was talking about how like all of his martinis drowned the dreams of all the dead women that he's caused.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't really get that.
Such a great line.
Yeah, but like now I listen to it, I'm like, that's awesome. And I thought Natalia, she was a great Bond woman because she wasn't a helpless victim. She was a great hacker. She knew how to shoot a gun. She could kick butt. I think she flew a helicopter at one time.
Yeah.
She just knew how to like take care of business. She wasn't like the helpless victim. Xenia Onatopp was not great, but she was a fun Bond villain, which led to that line where Brosnan was like, no more full play. And that was a great trailer moment. I just think it was a very smart reintroduction to Bond. And I love it. I love that film. And the fight at the end and how they kill 006. He falls like a mile. He survives, and then a satellite lands on him.
Yep.
I love it.
That's see, for me, like Brosnan, I never was like a huge fan of Brosnan, only because I loved GoldenEye. But then after GoldenEye, I felt like every one of his movies just went downhill, like really fast too. Like Tomorrow Never Dies. It was all right. It was not enough.
There was some good action scenes in that.
And then Die Another Day. Oh God.
Oh, dude, Die Another Day. I have one note for Die Another Day, or two, and one of them says yuck.
Yeah.
And then the other one, Pierce Brosnan's talking about it, and he goes, "The kite surfing is so darling." He was laughing about that. Like he knows it's the worst scene ever. But hey, guys, I just want to talk about one thing.
Yeah.
I got the Blu-ray set on my wedding registry, which was awesome. And my wife and I binge watch all the Bond films. And so The World Is Not Enough. Sophie Marceau is a great Bond villain. I think she's a good Bond girl, Bond villain. But one person that gets a lot of crap talked about her is Denise Richards.
Yeah.
Now, watching every Bond film back to back, she's not that bad. But I get why everyone hates that role.
Yeah.
Because it makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. I feel like World Is Not Enough was their chance to bounce back after Tomorrow Never Dies. Not that Tomorrow Never Dies was horrible. It just wasn't on par with GoldenEye. And I think when World Is Not Enough came out, like it had this chance to kind of bounce back. And I think it's middle of the road. It's not horrible, but they had a chance to really bring it back, and they didn't succeed. And I think it was because of the Denise Richards role. And I think it was because of just like some other aspects of the movie, but it could have been really great.
I mean, imagine Sophie Marceau's character in a Daniel Craig film.
Oh yeah,
wow, that would be amazing.
Sophie Marceau. That was the thing, is like that one took some dark turns too, where he's actually like shooting a woman and like right in front of her, and he's just standing there, and he just shoots her because she's saying, you know, you're not going to kill me, you wouldn't kill me, you still love me, kind of thing, and he ends up shooting her, and like it's such a dark moment, but like it's just overshadowed by some of the just inane stuff that didn't need to be part of that movie.
I just want to say that
Christmas Jones.
That's part of it.
That Brosnan's tenure as James Bond, I feel like it's like the most juxtaposed, because it had one of the strongest entries in the entire series in GoldenEye, but also probably had the worst entry in Die Another Day.
Oh,
So it starts so well, then it just like drops off a cliff. It's hilarious. Like no other kind of Bond kind of went through that. Like it was just kind of like Pierce Brosnan. Like it was just a high, really high, and it's just really low. Like wow.
But that's the thing, is like Die Another Day to me is the worst James Bond movie. It's worse than Moonraker. It's worse than Diamonds Are Forever. It's
Probably
just,
had the
it's
worst
bad.
theme song as well.
Yeah, not the greatest. Theme song. Yeah, Madonna, her techno voice kind of sings it. It's not good. But and like even Halle Berry felt like she was phoning it in, and like I don't know, the villain with diamonds in his face. I mean, it could have been good, but it just wasn't. And it's not even that. James Bond is, like I said before, is known for its stunts. It's known for its live action, just like stunts that they always do. And they did so much CGI in Die Another Day that was unnecessary. Plus, you take it as far as kite surfing from a large laser coming from a satellite, and it breaks a glacier, and the glacier falls and makes this big tidal wave, and he's kite surfing between all these pieces of ice, and it looks so fake. It was just bad, and I don't know. I do not like Die Another Day.
No, and like Halle Berry had won an Oscar,
Yeah.
but her line readings in this film are terrible.
They're bad.
They're horrible. And like I don't know, the main villain, he's this millionaire that had only popped up 2 years beforehand.
He was a Korean guy that got like
Yeah.
a transplant, like he looks
To
white
make him
now.
white.
Yeah,
A handsome white guy.
Yep.
Now imagine this. Imagine if Miranda Frost, Rosamund Pike, was in a Daniel Craig film.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was, again, they brought kind of like this evil woman kind of role. And Rosamund Pike, I love Rosamund Pike, but again, wasted in this movie.
How would you compare Brosnan's depiction as James Bond to other James Bonds? Like, what made his James Bond different than the others?
This is what I think about him. I think he wanted it both ways. He never went full Moore, and he never went full Connery. And so he had this weird hybrid where he'd be doing these cheeky little moments, but then these terrible, I don't even think they're double entendres. They're like a single entendre. And then he would play it serious by shooting Electra King. So his roles he never gelled. I don't think he ever felt comfortable as Bond.
Yeah, he wasn't really suave. He was handsome, but he wasn't suave, and he wasn't really funny. So to me, he's actually a pretty bland 007 in the sense that he's kind of just there to be this action star. Like, he's an action star. That's what he is.
Like
he's
a 90s action star.
Yeah, that's what it is. And I don't know, it came across kind of bland, but it's kind of sad because I think he looks the part. Like, I think he's a very handsome looking,
sounds like it, really.
sounding James Bond. Like, he looks like he could play that part. It's just, it didn't come across as anything. I think he never found the role. He never found like what he wanted to do with the role. And again, he was in 4 movies, not as many as Connery and not as many as Moore, but I do think they found the role easier than he did. I don't know.
Now, and then one thing, though, everyone talks about the originality of Daniel Craig's Bond, and they're great films, but I do think there are some parallels to be grabbed. Like, remember in GoldenEye when he's driving the tank and he fixes his tie?
Yeah.
And then you go to Skyfall where Bond fixes his cufflink.
Yeah.
And the world is not enough. They blow up, what is it, MI6? So
Yeah.
they got to go to an undercover bunker.
Or in World Is Not Enough, where he like goes in the boat and he fixes his tie underwater.
And then Judi Dench, she has to rig up a clock, but then in Skyfall they do the light. They pull a full Home Alone. So I do think that they kind of perfected some of the things from Brosnan's era into Skyfall, or not Skyfall, but like Casino Royale.
Craig.
There.
Yeah,
like Sophie Marceau and to Vespa Green.
Yeah,
and I do think there are some parallels. So I think those Bonds were great because I think the producers and writers were kind of like, we were close, and they sort of like cracked the code with the Daniel Craig Bonds. Yeah, except for Quantum of Solace, which is the worst.
Well, it's good that you bring up Daniel Craig because he's the next person. He's the next actor on our list.
Yep.
Where's Michael Keaton?
Oh yeah,
I wish.
No, so Daniel Craig is our current Bond at the moment.
Yep.
He's
been in 3 movies so far.
Right. And I just can you say like is his tenure is kind of a reboot of the series? Because that's how it feels like the producers are treating it as.
It's interesting because Casino Royale was kind of a reboot, and then it felt like Skyfall was another reboot. It's like they rebooted after Die Another Day, and then they rebooted again after Quantum of Solace.
Oh, gosh, that's the worst movie.
But the thing is, though, is that there's no really kind of hard continuity like throughout these movies.
This is where they kind of break it. They break it in the sense that you could kind of see this as all the same Bond. Like, Bond's the only... Like, if you take all the characters, they're the same characters. They're the same people. They're just played by different actors, but it's the same universe. But then they bring along Casino Royale, and they say, like, okay, this is the first Bond, right? Like, this is a prequel to all the other Bonds, right? So they bring in that, and that's supposed to be a prequel. But then Quantum of Solace takes place after that. That means that takes place between Casino Royale and Dr. No. Then where does Skyfall take place? Because Skyfall, that would mean it takes place after Quantum of Solace, but he talks about the car from Goldfinger.
It's trying to bring order to chaos.
It just doesn't, but it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't understand.
Well, it has to take place after Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace because Judi Dench is still alive in those movies.
Right.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
I will say something though. Like, Casino Royale was a great reboot, and I think it gave us the best Bond girl.
Vesper Lynn.
I mean, Eva Green tore that role up, and I don't know what my point was getting. I just interrupted you guys. My bad. But one thing I find interesting is, Doug Liman wanted to direct a Bond film, but they said no. Doug Liman had directed Go and Swingers. So Doug Liman went and directed Bourne Identity, which became a massive hit. And then you could see the influence of that on the next Bond films.
Yeah.
So indirectly, he directed a Bond movie.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, you know what? And what I love about Daniel Craig is his character came out fully 3-dimensional, and that opening scene with the free running, and I think that the thing that really establishes Daniel Craig's Bond is there's a scene where he's chasing the bad guy, and the bad guy jumps over a door, and Pierce Brosnan, and Daniel Craig runs through it.
Yeah,
like he's like a new battering ram. He's like a Lazenby 2.0.
He's rough and tough. He's just He's not like
he's
smart,
a pit bull.
He just,
really, he's a pit bull.
Yeah. They kind of just let him
Daniel
loose.
Craig bites on your neck, you're done.
Yeah. Yep. Put him down. No, I like Daniel Craig so far. I like what he's done with the role. I like Casino Royale a lot. That's one of my favorite, not only my favorite Bond movies, but one of my favorite movies. And I've noticed that people who aren't Bond fans still love Casino Royale. They love it as a movie. But I noticed that that's like a movie, that's a Bond movie for people who aren't Bond fans, whereas Skyfall, I think, is more of a movie for specifically Bond fans.
It was a love letter to Bond fans.
It was. Really. And like people who watch it, I've tried to show people who love Casino Royale, I try to show them Skyfall, and they don't fall in love with it.
Did you show them Quantum of Solace?
No, I always just skip that one. I don't hate Quantum of Solace as much as a lot of people do. I feel like it's middle of the road. It's not that great. It's not that good. Or it's not that great. It's not that bad.
Its biggest sin is that it's boring. That's what it was.
And the action scenes are so choppy and badly edited. And that's just the director, though. That's I forget, the guy who directed World War Z also. It's the same thing. He has that choppy editing, directing style, and I hate it. It gives me a headache. And But Casino Royale, and it's kind of funny because Casino Royale was directed by Martin Campbell, who also directed GoldenEye. So he rebooted the franchise twice, and both of those movies were great.
If you look at most like James Cameron films, Aliens, Terminator, he has these great female characters, these great leads, and I think Vespa Green did that. And so I think that's why for non-Bond fans, it was kind of this universal thing with this really fully fleshed out female character. Yeah. And then kind of like, Daniel Craig, he loved her. Like he was sympathetic towards her. Like he was a battering ram, but he had feelings. So,
which makes sense as a prequel because you kind of get this sense that, okay, this is a prequel and this is why he treats women the way he does after this because she was just a cold-hearted bitch.
Oh, man.
Like, that's just what he saw her as after.
So, guys, how would you feel about Craig's Bond compared to the others? I feel like Daniel Craig's Bond is basically Sean Connery's Bond, but stripped of all the suaveness, the gentlemanness. Like, it's just like you took like all the rough parts of Connery's depiction and just amplified it. And then you had Craig, basically. Yeah. Daniel Craig kind of had like this unrefined kind of appeal that he brought to James Bond. I think it works really well here.
It works in the content of the scripts. It works like how the stories are unfolding. He's just a dark, grittier Bond.
I love what you said though about Casino Royale and Skyfall because Skyfall has Javier Bardem in it, and he's the quintessential Bond villain. He comes up with the most ridiculous plot, in the history of the world, just to shoot somebody, and he has every infinite thing. So it really does go back to its Bond roots, whereas Casino Royale really does kind of reboot it. Yeah. I guess the most ridiculous thing about Casino Royale is the poker. Like, if you've never played poker before, don't try to play poker like Casino Royale, guys.
That
does not happen.
Because you'll get like a full house and still lose.
Full house, straight flush, royal flush. Like, it's just like, oh, come on.
Oh, man.
But with Daniel Craig, I've loved two of his films. So he has 2 hits, 1 strikeout. I still think. I want to see Spectre. I think he'll have more of an identity there. I think they let him breathe a little bit with the cufflink in Skyfall when he jumped on the train. But I got to go with my favorite still, Connery.
How many more movies is Craig signed on for?
2 more.
2 more. So
so Skyfall just came out. I also want to point out that Quantum of Solace came out during the writing strike too, the writer strike. So that's kind of how it took a hit. But yeah, Skyfall, I like Skyfall a lot. And it's going to be the same director. It's going to come back, Sam Mendes. It's going to come back and direct Spectre with Daniel Craig and with all this new crew. Ray Fiennes as M. They're going to have
Christoph Waltz.
Christoph Waltz is going to be in it. And a lot of people are speculating maybe a Blofeld return because Blofeld, who was the main bad or the main villain through the first 6 movies and then reappeared a couple times throughout.
I was hoping Kevin Spacey would play Blofeld.
God, that would be so awesome.
It would be so obvious like they wouldn't do it, but still at the same time it's like, wow, I wish.
I think he could pull it off. But they got the rights. That's the thing is they were fighting for the rights of Blofeld for a long time, and they finally just got the rights back. So I'm wondering if Blofeld will appear in Spectre.
So the future is looking pretty good.
The one thing I'm worried about, though, is Roger Deakins won't be back for Spectre. And he shot Skyfall, and Skyfall is hands down the best-looking Bond film ever made.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah. The scene where they're in the casino.
Can't believe he didn't win Academy Award for that.
He is that movie Prisoners that he shot. Like, he is... I mean, guys, if you haven't watched Skyfall, just... you could just put it on mute and watch the shots. Like, it's a beautiful, beautiful film.
Yep.
So I will give that. I mean, it's the best looking Bond film, I'll have to say.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, we reached the end of the Bond list, unless, you count the, what's it?
Side films, Never... Say Never Again,
right?
Which was the Kevin McClory directed one, I think.
Right.
And
I don't know.
Spy Hard.
Spy Hard with Leslie Nielsen.
So
there's a line from Spy Hard, though. Sorry, John, where he's like, a guy's pointing a gun at Leslie Nielsen. He's like, "When I'm done with you, you're gonna look like Swiss cheese." And Leslie Nielsen's like, "That's no Gouda."
Classic line.
I hate myself for liking that joke, but I stuck with
it. It's a good one though. I love wordplay.
All right, so we've gone through 6 actors. I think it seems like we all kind of agree that Connery was the best, so we had to rank him somewhat.
Yeah, for me, I kind of made a list, and I think
Give me your best and worst. Give me your best and worst.
Connery is the best. I think Lazenby is the worst.
Really?
Only because Lazenby didn't get a chance to really shine.
Okay. Mark, what about you?
Connery is the best. Dalton is the worst. But nothing against Dalton. I couldn't stand it. I can't stand his Bond.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it. I wish they would have made him more jokey. I think he did. If you watch him in Hot Fuzz, he's funny.
Yeah.
He gets it. Like, they never let him do that. And so I don't, Dalton, you're listening. You can call me up later. But Dalton's my least favorite.
I agree. Connery's the best, but I do want to say that, depending on how his next couple of movies come out, I think Daniel Craig has a pretty good shot at
he does.
becoming my favorite. Because right now he's a close second behind Connery for me.
Yeah, same here.
Like, he's done an amazing job so far. And, it's the fact that he even gets close to Connery. Like, that's a huge achievement.
If Spectre turns out to be a good movie and then the next one turns out to be really good, he'll probably take top spot.
And the worst one is probably a surprise for many of you.
Yeah.
Is Brosnan.
Really?
Yeah. It's weird. Like, I think he was the worst Bond, but he was also in my favorite Bond movie, GoldenEye.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird how that works out.
Because he was an action star. That's what it was.
All right, before we leave, it should be said that James Bond isn't just known for its actors. It's known for a couple of things. Mm. And since we're running a little long, let's go through them real
quickly. Yeah.
Right. So, guys, first thing I want to ask you, what or who was the best Bond girl?
I'm going to have to go with Vesper Lynn from Casino Royale. I think Eva Green knocked it out of the park. I think they actually fleshed out her character more. I think she's the best. She's the one that, I think it's the reason why people can watch Casino Royale and not be Bond fans, but still love that movie because there is, human character development.
Good. Mark?
All right, Vesper, but then I'll have to go with Natalia from GoldenEye. I just thought she was just down. Like, she survived an attack. She outwitted on the top. She knew how to shoot a machine gun. She knew how to outwit Boris. She was a computer hacker. She threw down. I think she was. Listen, if I was hanging out on a train, I'd chill with Vesper. But if I was on a mission, I would be out with Natalia.
I do. Yeah, I should say my honorable mentions were Tatiana Romanova from Russia with Love, just because she was so cute and playful.
No, she was actually really beautiful.
Yeah, she was. And then Teresa de Vicenzo, or whatever her name was, Diana Rigg from On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Oh, she was a strong character too.
For me, I would probably say for an honorable mention, Octopussy, just because,
Maud Adams.
Yeah. Honey Ryder.
Surprisingly, Maud Adams played a villain before, right? And then she came back and she played two characters in the Bond universe.
That happens a couple times. No one's paying attention.
They've reused actors a bunch of times in the Bond universe.
Wait, is that why the pigeon did the double take in Moonraker?
Maybe.
The same actors?
Well, Charles Gray was a helper of Sean Connery, and You Only Live Twice, and he gets stabbed in the back. And then he comes back. Charles Gray, the same actor, comes back as Blofeld in Diamonds Are Forever. It's so weird. It's so weird.
No, I think for me the best Bond girl is Judi Dench as M.
Really?
Yeah.
That's decent.
I think she was great. Her character had an arc.
In the later ones.
Yeah.
She can go full on Home Alone too.
Yeah,
that's true.
All right, guys. The next thing that deserves another mention is the gadgets.
Yeah.
A lot of these movies are defined by what gadget Q gives Bond. So I have to ask you guys, what is the best Bond gadget?
Easy. The jetpack.
Yes.
From what, Thunderball?
Yes.
The slowest moving.
Yeah.
I love it's not so much the jetpack, it's like the helmet he's wearing.
Yeah.
It's like the most un-James Bond look I've ever seen.
Yeah, why would he put on a helmet? He would just jump in that thing and get out of there.
Listen,
they're shooting at him.
If you're willing to put on a jetpack, is a helmet really necessary? I feel like so many other things could go wrong. Like a helmet, it's not going to save you.
Dude, not only does he take that jetpack to the car, he gets in the car and he turns on the water hoses that come out of the back of the car and spray those guys. That was pretty good.
So I'm gonna go with the briefcase from Russia with Love.
That's good.
And but the funny thing is, if you think about the suitcase, it basically just holds money.
Yeah, it does.
And,
and a knife.
It's basically just a briefcase.
Yeah. For some reason,
it
it has a couple secret compartments, but that's it.
It's like this pouch holds money. It's like, ooh. So, I mean, it saves the day with the gas. You know, if you got to put your documents in there, you're safe. You could whack somebody with it.
Yep.
If your car is stuck in a snowdrift, you could put it under the tire. So that's my favorite pick is the briefcase from Russia with Love.
I agree with Robert. The jetpack is pretty epic. If I had to pick a second one, I'd go with the exploding pen from GoldenEye.
Oh yeah.
Like the thing I love about these gadgets is that like they seem really weird, but they always fit like a specific situation.
Yeah.
Like later on, like it's the exact thing he needs to get out.
I know he always gets the stuff that he needs,
and like it's just perfect in GoldenEye because like the exploding pen, it's exactly exactly what he needed to get out of that situation. I'm just like, well, okay,
maybe they just don't show like the other stuff that he takes from Q that's just unnecessary.
Yeah,
like that's just fit in his pockets.
Oh, here's some bullets.
Yeah, yeah. But he has like that melting pen, like the acid in his pen that he uses in Octopussy. He gets like trapped in a room and they lock the door and then he has bars on the windows and he uses like his little acid pen to melt the bars and get out. And like that's something that like he never had in any other Bond movie, but luckily it's the one where he gets locked inside a room.
Maybe Q's like a psychic. Like
Maybe.
he just knows exactly what to give Bond.
Oh, it's possible.
Right. All right. So one last thing I want to ask is a lot of these James Bond movies, they're preceded or the titles are very well done. There's like a kind of a musical score. I want to ask, which Bond had the best theme song? This is going to be a tough one, I think.
For me, I'd have to go with Goldfinger. I think it's just a Shirley Bassey knocked it out of the park. It was, I think, the second. Well, technically, From Russia with Love had a theme song that had lyrics to it, but they didn't play it in the beginning. They just played the instrumental version in the opening credits, and they played the rest of the song later on throughout the movie. But Goldfinger was the first one that opened with like, actual lyrics, like somebody singing a song. I will say that I loved Live and Let Die. Nobody Does It Better. Carly Simon's song on The Spy Who Loved Me, and then I loved A View to a Kill, which was Duran Duran. But Goldfinger, I think, is the top. Worst one, Madonna.
Oh,
Die
gosh.
Another Day, and maybe Another Way to Die, which was the Quantum of Solace one with Alicia Keys and Jack White.
They were playing. You guys were playing the Die Another Day thing before we went on, and I was feeling my soul just being sucked out of me.
Yep.
It was like what John C. Reilly in Anchorman 2 was the ghost of Stonewall Jackson.
He's just sucking it out.
No, my favorite is Live and Let Die.
Paul McCartney.
Yeah,
It's one of the catchiest riffs ever.
Yeah.
No, I think Live and Let Die. I think actually like you may not agree with me on this, but the Casino Royale sung by
That's not bad.
I forgot what his name was.
It's Chris Cornell.
Yeah, Chris Cornell.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, that was
Chris Cornell.
Skyfall.
No, actually Adele did a pretty good job.
That was Adele.
Adele did a pretty good job in Skyfall, so it's one of those two. I do
Chris
think
Cornell, Casino Royale was good too. That had a different title though. It wasn't called Casino Royale.
right. So I lied when I
It
said
was called mid-'90s grunge music.
Yeah, pretty much. Wait, can we also just really quick?
yeah. I was going to say I lied when I say that was the last thing.
Yeah.
So the Bond movies are also iconic because of the villains that they have. So I want to ask you guys, who was the best Bond villain?
I think for me the best Bond villain was Blofeld, just because he was the leader of people such as Red Grant and Number 4.
That's not kind of fair though, because he was in like a couple movies, right? Or mentioned.
Wasn't
he
there
was
more
in
Blofelds than Bonds?
You know what? I don't know. Donald Pleasance played Blofeld. Charles Gray played Blofeld.
Who was the best Blofeld?
Donald Pleasance, because that's what the inspiration for what was it? Dr. Evil in Austin Powers, because he had the scar on his eye and the bald head. But I think Blofeld's the best villain. But I will say Jaws is the best henchman.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man. All right, I got to go with. All right, if I was at a cocktail party, I would say Red Grant from Russia with Love. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to say 006, Sean Bean, Alex Trevelyan from GoldenEye. I love how he just calls Bond out on his stuff, and he's just Sean Bean. I'll watch Sean Bean do anything. So
He's probably like the most.
006.
He's probably the most tragic villain out of all the Bonds. I think. He got screwed over the most, and you actually felt sorry for him.
And Sophie Marceau, I would be in a lot of trouble.
I got to go with the man with the golden gun, Francisco Scaramanga.
Hey, boss.
I think I just like saying that name, Francisco Scaramanga. Plus, he had like a golden gun. Like, how cool is that?
And he had a third nipple, which for some reason was just in it. No, didn't really need to be there, but
played by the great Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was just an improv on set. Like, just give him 3 nipples.
It'll differentiate him from all the other bad guys.
Christopher Lee is just standing around, and someone just like, oh, there's a third nipple. Like, okay.
Or maybe he just has a third nipple. We're like, all right, we got to write it into the show.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think the third nipple is a good place to end this podcast.
That's how I want to end every podcast.
All right, the third nipple?
Yep.
Okay, that's something to shoot for.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, this has been a pretty interesting journey, right?
It has.
I hope you guys had
we
fun.
tackled all of 50 years of Bond films
in about a little over an hour.
23 Bond movies.
I'm sure we covered everything. We didn't cut anything out.
Nope.
Right? I don't know.
And if we had any mistakes, just email John, and he'll
email Robert.
All hate mail to John at john.com.
Yeah. I'm sure that's a real website. All right, before we sign off, let's plug some stuff. Okay. Robert.
All right, well, I mean, if you're listening to this, you've probably seen the Shark Dropper website. You can go to sharkdropper.com. Basically, we have all of our stuff on there. We have this podcast, Movies, Films, and Flicks. We have Dopple Avenue Hurt, which is a fictional detective series, spoof series.
Season 2 is coming out soon.
Season 2 will be out soon. We actually have, we also have a fictional series, a horror series coming out soon called Paralyzed. But you can go to the website and see, we just released Top 5, which is me, John here, and our friend Jonathan. We get together and just rate top 5 anything and everything. We just pick a topic and we rate the top 5 of that certain topic. We have the Shark Dropper podcast, Word of the Bay, which is a sports-based podcast. And then Horror Play, which is the search for the scariest video game ever, which John here is a part of and I'm a part of, and we try to just find what we think is the scariest game ever made. But yeah, you can find that all on sharkdropper.com. You can follow us at SharkDropper on Twitter. We're on Instagram. I guess that's it.
Also on Tinder. We're on Tinder. Swipe right on us.
Yeah.
Mark, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, stop by Movies, Films, and Flicks, Movies, Films, ANDFLIX.com, Movies, Films, and Flicks with an X.com. And also check out the new podcast, which is called The 5 Things of 5 Things, where you listen to Robert's podcast and we talk about the top 5 things of his 5 things that he talked about.
I can't wait to do top 5 podcasts.
It's just, it's too meta. It's too meta right now.
No, wait till the one that's about the top 5 things about the top 5 things about the top 5 podcasts.
I'm gonna sign off now before it gets too crazy here. Thank you so much for listening to this special James Bond episode of Movies, Films, and Flicks. I've been your host, John Lassoff. For my co-hosts, Mark Hofmeyer and Robert Lamb. We'll see you guys next time.
We're above the target. T-minus 5 seconds till shark drop. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the shark! Go! 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 This podcast is a Shark Dropper Studios production.